Hey everyone. It's about 7:12 Friday for our community hall. I do know that today is Halloween, so I will try to keep this short so everyone can have fun tonight. Just make sure everyone is safe and doing their thing. But there is a couple things I want to go over for tonight's community hall just to fill everyone in on what is going on. So we are launching a new campaign called Fight for Our Freedom. For those of you who know the story of Corporal Faye Ohu and PFC Celeste Largo, both females are currently in the brig on the East Coast. Both of them had experienced military sexual trauma, had flashbacks, and during a flashback, sometimes if you think you're reliving the trauma, you can become a violent, right? That's something that I think is really known already within the community. So basically what's going on is they had that experience. Now they're both in the brig. So we have been working with both families, and the artwork that you see here was designed in collaboration with the families of Faye Ohu and Celeste Largo, along with our movement's artist, Alicia Aguilar. By this point, a lot of you probably have seen many different pieces of tribute artwork that she has done. This is going to be the official campaign logo that we are using for the Fight for Our Freedom campaign. So we will be launching over the weekend an email that will talk about how you guys can get involved and what we could do to continue pushing the narrative forward. I do want to give you a little bit of background on the artwork before I get into some of the advocacy work, just because this is like iconic artwork and for a lot of different reasons. So generally when you see Marines depicted in artwork of any kind, we don't normally see the cultural heritage and the storyline behind the Marines, right? We normally see something more patriotic along with like Marine Corps flag or the American flag or something like war related or very patriotic in nature, but we don't really talk about culture. So what's very iconic about this artwork along with their storylines is Faye is on the left and behind her is a wing that is an aura of energy, right? And that's made up of her favorite colors. Also, Faye was born into a refugee camp. Her father, during the 1980s, was participating in nationwide protests that were going on in Burma when there was a military dictatorship that was the regime at the time. And anyone who was protesting, basically, the government ensued violence using the military against the citizens that were protesting for democracy and for freedom. They didn't want a one-party system with a military dictatorship. So her father became a Burmese freedom fighter and moved into the jungle and joined a student alliance that was fighting against the government to instill a democracy. So what's really interesting about Burmese culture is that there was numerous human rights violations that ensued during that time in this fight between the government, who wanted to maintain complete control, a one-party system, and no freedom. And also at the time, the economy was really bad because the government was deteriorating intentionally to essentially stop protesters from fighting for democracy at that time. And that led to essentially the collapse of their economy and, socialism that was going on at that time. And her father lived in the jungle for 7 years. And then while the protests were getting worse and the human rights violations were getting worse, at that point, and he had started to have a family, he applied with the UN for refugee status. And at that time, during their application, they were moved to the Thai-Burmese border, which had a refugee camp there. And Faye was born in that refugee camp. So the artwork really depicts the storyline with a lot of different pieces of Burmese culture. The fighting peacock represents the fight for democracy, because today they are a democracy. during the 1990s, they, essentially became a democracy. So it was that fight for freedom that, her father and many others had fought for in Burma. And that behind her is also the Burmese freedom flag as part of Burmese culture. And then, some other culture with the Burmese crown that women wear in their communities, and the Burmese flowers as well. Then we have Celeste Largo, and behind her, for her aura wave, is a rainbow. And for those of you who don't know, she is a twin. And this is also symbolizes in Native American culture there is a story about the hero twins, and behind her as well are other pieces of Native American culture, of Navajo culture specifically, the Navajo tribe. And the bear claws for the Native Americans represent strength, integrity and leadership, introspection. And there's also a hummingbird, which when other birds didn't have the strength to fight, the hummingbird fought for the rest of the birds. So there's a lot of different cultural backgrounds in both, but also Celeste Largo comes from a line of family members who have fought in the United States military. Her father is a retired Marine, as well as her grandfather was one of the Navajo code talkers during World War II. So, both women come from, they come from backgrounds of hardship, right? Because the Navajo tribe has gone through a lot. There has been a very complicated relationship between the Navajo tribe and the U.S. government, right? There was a time where the U.S. government themselves was committing genocide against the Navajo tribe, as well as other tribes, right? Like the Trail of Tears was happening to Native Americans across the country. And then as well, there was the Long Walk, in which the Navajo tribes were being pushed out of the region by the U.S. Army. So what I wanted to talk about and why this artwork is iconic is because, both of their storylines come from families who were essentially oppressed by their governments. And for them to join the Marine Corps was a symbol of this fight for freedom. And when women typically go through sexual violence, especially female minorities, there are a lot of systemic issues that occur. And one of the main systemic issues that happens is that when female minorities have an adverse reaction to trauma and they have a PTSD reaction and their fight response kicks off, they are more likely to end up in the brig than they are to end up med boarded or to receive some type of disability or discharge in relation to military sexual trauma. So that leads us now to where we are with this campaign. So the Fight for Our Freedom campaign is not only, their fight for freedom and what that is, but it's representative of minorities across the Marine Corps and the structural issues that minorities face when coming forward with sexual violence in the military. And so there's a larger systemic issue at hand that this artwork represents. And the Fight for Our Freedom campaign that we'll be launching over the course of next week is the different actions we can take to get involved. So we have a petition that everyone can sign on our webpage, which is mstmovement.org/FFOF. You can sign that petition as well as other activities. You can also engage in writing infinity letters to both Faye and Celeste. So you can talk about your own experience with MST, some of the struggles that you've had, and how you've overcome those struggles. And what we will do is we will deliver those letters to their families to give to Celeste and Faye. If that's something that you guys want to participate in, we strongly recommend that everyone gets involved in that. But also, we will be working on sending out an email blast to everyone to be able to donate either directly to the families or to MSTM. So we can further our mission and our advocacy efforts. We do have other campaign projects lined up and events lined up. However, I cannot disclose that at this time. But over the next couple weeks, I'll discuss that with everyone and how you can get involved in those efforts as well. So I really wanted to open up with that to touch base with everyone. Let me go. So I wanted to, touch base with the campaign and what's going on to fill you in on that. We will have more to tell you in upcoming weeks. Just look up our emails. If you're not on our email list and you want to get on there, you can sign up at mstmovement.org/join, and we will add you to our email list, and you can get the updates on what we're going to be doing next with the campaign. Aside from that, I just want to let you know we did a couple of podcasts that came out this week, where we talked about leadership, what it's like to run the movement. We spoke about sexuality again. That's always a reoccurring topic that we typically talk about. And this week, we'll also be having Carrie Sutton's Perspectives piece come out that we'll be launching alongside the campaigns. So we do have a lot of good stuff that's going to be coming out this week that everyone can participate in for that. And, other than that, I don't have much to fill everyone in for tonight. I just wanted to do a quick catch up because I have been really, really busy, and you will see why shortly. But, my schedule has been pretty packed, and, we've been doing really well with a lot of different projects. Also, with lobbying in the Senate, I just want to give a quick shout out to Anna Lynn, because she's been amazing with, really pushing the narrative forward in Congress and touching base with people in Congress and in the Senate. So I want to give a quick shout out to her just for her ongoing and amazing efforts and contributions to the movement. And for everyone else, everyone in terms of the I Am Vanessa Guillen Act and the lobbying efforts, that's been going really, really well. We have so many critical projects on our hands at this time. And these projects are really working to push legislation forward, to push these conversations forward, to create awareness on the plights that we go through with military sexual trauma that the general public does not know about, and the systemic issues surrounding military sexual trauma that the public doesn't know about. So, we have a lot of on our plate, right? There's a lot on our plate in the movement, and I want to say thank you to everyone for the consistency, for the amazing job that everyone's doing, for the efforts that everyone's consistently putting in to dial the needle forward, and for what we've done, and just I'm thankful, for the teams that we have and for what everyone's doing. So I want to let you know that I definitely appreciate everything that everyone's doing. It means a lot. So that's something that was really important and that I wanted to bring up. And, I'm going to wrap up early for tonight just because I know that it's Halloween. Everyone's with their kids and is doing stuff for tonight. But I did want to catch up with everyone. Oh, here's Alicia. So she's our movement artist, for those of you who don't know that. And Alicia has done many artworks for us, but she had done the collaboration with the Ohu's family and Celeste Largo's family. So shout out to you. Very, very, very happy with what you put together. The families are really happy, and we're just happy to have you on our team. So thank you for your contributions. And yes, Anna Lynn, straight shout out to her. But yeah, I want to let you guys get back because I know, you guys are going to be with your families tonight. And I just wanted to give you a quick update that, that we're still working and doing our thing like we always are. But there will be more to tell you in the next week or so, right? Like in the next week to next 2 weeks, we're going to have some more information come out for you guys. So, stay on the lookout for that. We will be in touch soon, and we'll keep you posted and updated. Again, if you haven't joined our email list, mstmovement.org/join. Enjoy your night. Be safe. Make good decisions.